It's been a long time since I've talked about an album without a script, and it's not an end of the year feature. So it's time to talk about one of the biggest surprises of last year, which is Shouta Aoi's Collage. Let's kick off this episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Welcome to SEIYUU Lounge, I'm your host Vanessa, and today let's talk about Shouta Aoi's mini album Collage. So this is a really unscripted episode, so as you can see my flow is not even making any sense, but this is a really interesting one because I fell in love with this CD almost instantly as I was reviewing it. I felt that it's impossible for the next song to be better than the other, but truth be told, the full album is 5 stars. There's no song in this CD or mini album that I don't like, which is a massive difference seeing as I was not a big fan of his previous album. So, this is already a massive upgrade when it comes to the quality. At least I feel that Collage is a really interesting one. And I was impressed with the quality. And it starts off with a rock track. We are talking about heavy rock, visual kei rock. And if you actually seen or watched or listened to these performances in the Visual Prison franchise, you know that Shouta Aoi can really belt a rock tune and deliver an amazing performance. And especially one that has the intricacies of visual kei rock, which is a bit more theatrical and dramatic than usually rock is. And it starts off with Fall. This is a song composed by Lynch's frontman, and in some way he's also a guitarist and also he's a composer and he does solo work as well. We are talking about Hazuki, and when it comes to visual kei music, one of my favorite frontmen in visual kei is actually Hazuki. Alongside Ruki from the Gazette, Hazuki is my favorite frontman in visual kei rock. So I was quite excited to see this collaboration, but I of course was expecting in some way for that to happen, but not necessarily with Shouta Aoi. Seeing of course as Lynch is signed to King Records as well, so they are label mates, so this was a collaboration that was quite easy to happen and to make it happen, and I'm thankful that actually Shouta Aoi wanted to bring in Hazuki to compose his music. And Hazuki was actually pretty much okay to compose music for a pop artist. Or should we say that Shouta Aoi is a pop artist or more that he is an EDM pop artist? Because most of his music is EDM, not necessarily pure, simple pop. But yeah, it was actually really awesome to see this collaboration happening and Hazuki actually composing a song that makes Shouta Aoi's voice shine, which usually I feel that, and this was a big problem with Shouta Aoi's previous album, was that the songs that were rock didn't or weren't tailored to his voice. And I felt that something was lacking in there, of course, because the music was flowing well, but of course there was the problem of excessive electronica in almost every single rock song. But at the same time, it felt that the instrumental was so overpowering that Shouta Aoi was actually not shining in those songs. It felt weird, it sounded weird, and it was more to be edgy as a concept than to deliver actual quality. And look at the difference when you actually bring a composer focused on, or at least with a lot of experience, making his own voice shine within a band that is quite heavy at times. And he actually composed a song that made sure that Shouta Aoi sounded really good. And I love how this album opens with such a statement song. Fall is a statement song. It is really awesome. Still, for fans of pop music and the electronica that Shouta Aoi brings to his music, you will find some electronica in Fall, but this is also something that Hazuki in his project Xanadu has actually done before. So electronica is not a surprise in here because Hazuki is actually quite well versed when it comes to the electronica itself, because he already has that in his music as well as a solo artist. This was a song that actually made me headbang, and I started to think, oh my god, if this song is really good, I don't want to be disappointed like I was with the previous album, so please don't disappoint me. Well, what we got was Magic of Love, and this is a really loungy dance tune, really sweet. I feel that this was quite the big change in tone from Fall, but it is really sweet. It is not the type of EDM tune that will overwhelm you. This is actually an easy listening type of song, and I feel that the sort of futuristic vibe that it has, and also the wide, dreamy atmosphere that it creates, it actually brings or makes the song really makes the concept of the magic of love come forward and come be actually fleshed out in front of you. The song as well has a lot of influences from disco music, and I appreciate a lot the fact that there is some of the simplicity you will find in early noughties pop music. At least we are talking about 2000 until 2004, let's say. That's the simplicity that this song has, and I love it a whole lot. The bass line is going to be something that will stand out to you if you actually like bass lines, if you like a bassy sound, which usually is associated with a more danceable sound. There is a lot of groove in here. You will find yourself dancing along to this song. This is a song that, of course, because it is sweeter and softer, will demand a sweeter, higher and softer, even youthful type of performance by Shouta Aoi. He's sounding a bit different from usual. It almost sounds like he's performing a character song in this one. But this song is so addictive, so you will barely notice the difference. Then we have Hide and Seek, and this one kicks off with a really jaunty piano. There's a lot of influences of Latin jazz in this song, although they are a bit underneath the main sound. This is a song that is crazy fast. As soon as you press play, or if you are listening to the album from start to finish, you will notice how fast this song is in comparison with Magic of Love. It is relentless, so fast, so intense, so jaunty. It is really addictive and will basically make you want to hit the dance floor and start dancing like crazy. This is a song that speeds up more and more, and either you are a person that gets energy from these types of songs and you get pumped up with these types of songs, or you are like me and you get a bit drained by these types of songs. But still, this is a really fun performance. You have plenty of technique being showcased in this song when it comes to the vocals, with a lot of falsetto going on at the same time as a piano is complementing Aoi's vocals. So this is a really good one. You can consider this almost like an intermission because the mini album is really mini. Next one, we have, of course, Sono Mamade. And this is something that I like to say, and I usually say this, is that Shouta Aoi is a really good lyricist, and I would love to see more of that and hear more of that, because almost all the songs that he wrote lyrics to are my favorite ones in his repertoire. I said this before, but when I Am started, I remember, and I said this before when I talked about in specific Eclipse and how I Am is a song that impacted me a lot. I will say that Shouta Aoi really knows how to weave a story into lyrics and make it engaging, make it relatable, and pull your heartstrings. I believe he has that talent, and I would love to see him actually writing his music, all his music, because he has an amazing talent as a lyricist that he barely shows. And I feel that, especially for solo artists performing pop music, that most of them have a massive talent either playing instruments or writing lyrics or even composing music, but they never get the chance to showcase that because the music labels are like, well, you are a pop artist, someone will create the songs for you, you just sing and dance on stage. And there's that talent that is hidden. They have it, they don't showcase it. People start thinking they are not talented because they are just singing and dancing someone else's songs, that they are signing with their name because they really bought the song. But behind all that, there are really talented singers, composers, lyricists, and even musicians. And in this case, Shouta Aoi fits in the category of really good lyricist. He makes his lyrics connect with you in ways that all his other music doesn't connect. And I will say this, if you want to compare his songs or his lyrics to the lyrics that are written for him, you will notice the difference there. you will notice in the difference in how the song connects with you, because it is more personal, of course, because he is the one writing it. It's his feelings, not him telling someone what his feelings are and people actually writing about it, which is basically ghostwriting in some way. In this case, he actually came forward, wrote the lyrics, and we have an amazing, beautiful song. Sonomamade is really delicate. It has strings, it has acoustic guitars, a beautiful, delicate piano melody. It is everything you want and more when it comes to the ballad, at least the ballad genre. And then we have, of course, Shouta Aoi's beautiful, angelic, sweet vocals, really, really close to you, almost like they are lullabying you. This is a song that will make you cry easily. And in a really good fashion of his, all these songs usually, at least the ones that he writes lyrics to, usually tend to be tearjerkers. So this is another one to add to that list. I love this song a whole lot. I felt that for an EP that sounds like a collage, this actually fits in because it is a collection of songs that feel like a collage, that come from different places, all to create one seamless piece. So in this case, we have that here. Then we have Da La La. To wrap up, this is a massive, massive song. I said in a monthly review episode, the live stream in December, that I felt that Da La La was going to be a really cutesy pop tune, really EDM centric, and that from the music video, I was really dreading a little bit having to review it, because if you follow this podcast and you already know which are the music genres that I'm more comfortable with, because I love those, and the ones that I'm less of a fan of, you will notice that EDM music usually needs to be really amazing for me to actually praise it, because that's not necessarily a music genre that I enjoy listening. And I was really dreading Da La La from the music video without listening to the song. So I was curious. I don't listen to previews, and I for sure will not be listening to pre-release songs before the album hits. So I was watching the music video without sound, and I felt, oh damn, this is going to be so pop, so EDM centric, so cutesy, and I really don't like cutesy EDM music. Even if Shouta Aoi really nails that genre, and that's something that most of his fans loves, that's not the facet of his music that I actually enjoy. So for me, it's usually hard to review that style of music because I don't appreciate it. So I struggle a lot to find good points in those kinds of songs. So in this case, Da La La, I pressed play. I was already dreading it from the music video that I watched without sound. And look at my surprise that as soon as it started playing, I fell in love with it. That goes to show that the music video can be misleading and the vibe can be misleading. But when you go and check the lyrics in Da La La, actually it is meant to be misleading, because it is actually covering something that is a bit sensitive, which is haters, basically. And he didn't spare anyone with this performance. I feel that Shouta Aoi actually has a vendetta in some way with all the people that end up criticizing him left and right just because he doesn't fit a specific idea of what the ideal male SEIYUU artist or male artist should be like, or should sound like, or should look like. So since he is defying all those expectations or all those stereotypes that are in the industry by bringing a more androgynous look or visual and having the possibility of singing really high like a woman, or really in a comfortable range that fits already within, I should say, a tenor, and maybe not, he actually can. He can actually dive into a 4 baritone if he wants to. So he's almost like a trap, and I like this concept of him being impossible to categorize when it comes to the sound or to the visuals, because one CD is actually really manly and really edgy visually. Another one is really cutesy. Another one is more feminine. Another one is more androgynous. Another one is more, I should say, he really brings that concept of diversity to his music really well. And he challenges those concepts in Japan, which is really interesting. But of course, when you are challenging something, people will actually hate you without you doing anything that warrants hate in return. So what he tackled with this song was basically people that criticize him because he's too feminine, or criticize him because he's too masculine, or criticize him because he's too cute, or criticize him because he's too edgy, or basically demand things of him. And he says plenty of times, screw you, and I actually echo his sentiment because I've also been target of some criticism in the past, and honestly, the only answer that I have for people that criticize my work, and it is the same thing that Shouta Aoi brought here with Dalala, is basically screw you, because if you don't like, you should check everything else that there is out there, not focus or hyper focus on something you hate. So the really big message in Dalala is that if you don't like something, stop seeing something, stop watching that something, stop reading that something, stop criticizing. If you don't like it, ignore it, and let people feel empowered by what they do. If they like what they do, if they are feeling happy doing what they do, if they are successful doing what they do, why are you criticizing them? Why? First of all, you only have a right to criticize someone if you do the same thing that they do for a living. Then you are in the same place, you share almost the same experiences, and you know really how it is behind the camera or behind the screen or whatever. If you are in the same position, you can criticize because you already have a sort of a background, and you can match it to yours and see and say, well, I did this thing and I am an artist like him, so I would actually do this way. So you can criticize if you are an artist. Artists criticize artists all the time, and it is valid if it is an artist actually coming with feedback about another artist. But if you are just a fan, or a hater in this case, you are not an artist. So unless you are in front of a camera performing music, either that was written for you or that you wrote, you don't have any right whatsoever to criticize someone, because you don't have the same experiences and you are not on the same level that they are. So that's basically the message here. Stop criticizing. And I feel that Dalala really ends this album or EP powerfully. Really. How we intended to actually have profanity in the way that he was talking and addressing haters, that he actually is fed up with those types of people that just hate him just because they want to hate, or join that hate train or whatever. There are people online that just for clout will join people hating on other people just because they want to feel part of something. That's something so weird that I have yet to understand why people are so desperate to be accepted, especially when it comes to hating something. Don't hate something. If you don't like something, move on to things that you love. Why are you wasting some of your precious time in your life, which is not a lot of time, mind you, hating something that you don't like? Go watch and interact with things that you love. It's a more valuable way to use your time, I feel. But at least Dalala sends that message. I like that message, and this has become my official song for whenever a hater actually comes to me with some not so kind words, basically. And of course, this is another thing for you to pay attention to, that even if an artist sounds like they are happy, they are having the time of their lives, they are always dealing with this in the background. If you don't see hate online, maybe they are getting hate by the way people interact with his music label. They can send emails, they can send letters to the company, and you don't know what is inside those. That's a big reason why everything that you send to an artist or a SEIYUU is, prior to be delivered to that SEIYUU, read by their manager. Because it can be trigger warning, it can have death threats in some way, because there are crazy people and obsessed people out there. So that's a big reason why when you send something to an artist, the artist will not read it, most likely. Their manager is going to read, and if they feel it is trigger warning, your letter will end up in the trash, basically. It will not reach the artist in any capacity. So they actually get hate. They know. They get that in their DMs, they get that in comments, they get that in quote replies. They know that. They see the dislikes in their videos, they see the comments that are hidden in their videos. They are seeing the content that is flagged with people actually using profanity to talk about them. They know, they are aware. And that is something that affects them mentally and can really affect them personally, even outside of being an artist. And I feel that fans sometimes forget that behind the music they love, behind the lyrics that they are criticizing at times, there is a human being performing. There is someone that is entertaining you as a job, and you are actually treating them badly. Unless someone is directly offending you, I don't understand why you will need to be offensive towards someone. Don't be the reason that some artists actually kill themselves. Don't be the reason why people actually get depressed, and not be the reason why artists actually give up on releasing music. Because most of the times you don't know, but they decide to stop releasing music because exactly of that. Because people are threatening them, hating them, and they can no longer take it. And you will think, why did they stop? I love them. Well, but a lot of people hated them for no reason. For no reason. So when I look at Dalala, it's more than just a pop song. It's more than just an EDM song. It is a statement song beyond all statements, because it covers a lot of the hate that artists get in general, either if it is a SEIYUU artist or SEIYUU in their work as a voice actor, or even an artist, a professional one. They get hate all the time, either because they are doing the same thing over and over again, or either because they are changing over every single time, or because they didn't perform a song in a specific way, or because they didn't talk about a specific thing, or because the fans feel that they need to have a fan song and then they basically don't have a fan song. There's criticism every single time. It is impossible to basically make everyone happy, but an artist is trying to make some people happy. But sometimes that doesn't happen, and that affects them. And especially when criticism comes from people that actually don't listen to their music, are not even their fans to begin with, you start to be a bit worried, because people are actually creating campaigns of hate around something. And in this case, I noticed even among international fans that there is some disdain and dislike about Shouta Aoi because of his looks or about his voice. So I feel that this is a song that is made to make fun of the haters and the critics and everyone else that doesn't understand that music is art, and like every single piece of art out there, if you're not a fan, you can move on to the next one. You don't need to stick around for this one. So that's the big message here. When it comes to this album as a whole, Collage is an amazing collection of songs. Like I said, this is a collection of different things that create a whole, a perfect whole in my opinion. This is a perfect 5 out of 5 album or EP. And honestly, I was a bit sad that I didn't get to include it in the best albums of the year list, because I reviewed these after I wrote basically that script for the episode. But this one would have made it to the list for sure. So I believe it is time to wrap up this episode. I need to dive into the script because otherwise I don't know what to say. But first of all, this was my take, of course, on Shouta Aoi's Collage. I feel it is one of the best CD releases of 2024. Even if I didn't include in the final list of the year, this is by far one of the best. And I fully welcome you to dive into this CD. And if you want to actually to reflect on what I said about hate and communities and fandoms, because usually fandoms think they are helping, but they are really, really toxic. So, have you checked this CD? And if you have, which is your favorite song and why? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know what you thought about it. I was surprised by a couple of songs. Dalala was the song that surprised me the most, because I was misled by the music video, and then I was surprised by the lyrics, and then the song became my anthem to send to all the haters, basically. So yeah, let me know in the comments on YouTube. And remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of SEIYUU Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the THTFHQ's weekly Male SEIYUU and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. And if you are listening to this episode on a podcast listening platform, please consider following the podcast and leaving a review. Leaving a review is really simple and helps other people find this podcast and fall in love with male SEIYUU artists and 2D groups. I'll return next week with another episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.